What am I getting into today? We bought a SK Wayne 1/4 inch socket wrench. I already took it apart, but I'm going to show you how. We're just going to do a quick rebuild on this little 1/4 inch socket wrench. It's super cute, got the knurling there. I already cleaned it up with a wire brush, got some of the rust and junk off, put a couple drips of oil. Any oil is better than no oil. Spun it around a bunch, got some rust out of it. Anyways, so it's got a circular clip, also known as a Jesus clip, because when it slips, it flies out and you go, Jesus! That almost hit my eye. So this circlip goes around the business side of the 1/4 inch drive. And what you would do is you would get a small pair of pliers and you'd pinch it together. And then while you're pinching it and wiggling it, you push it all the way out. Now, careful, there are some springs. So we got our circlip off. We're going to put that off to the side. And here's what we got so far. So that's the side that you switch to go clockwise or counterclockwise, tight or loose. And then we got some pawls, some little tines and stuff there. Just getting into this. Let me take it apart and take a look at it, and I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. My eye may look a little red because I decided to clean it with this stuff. I suggest against it. However, it happens sometimes. All right, so we got our pieces apart. Here's the business side, the 1/4 inch drive for the socket wrench. We've got all of our innards out. So the first thing that's going to come out is this little, that's the piece that you turn to change the direction, counterclockwise or clockwise. Gently with a small screwdriver, I just pried it out. It didn't want to come at first. I had to spray some carb cleaner and get some of the gunk out. And then it slid out. I believe it might be held in by a small, if you can look, there's a hole right there, like a small pin or a bearing, but I didn't find it. After that, there is a pin, which is minute. This is the pin. And that pin is held in, pressed in there. But it was loose enough where this is the adjuster for left and right. It was able to come out just with tapping it, and so that came out. So now we have left with this guy, just kind of empty groove. I was hoping to somehow get a placed in there to fix this that little ball bearing so it pops back out. But I'm gonna try a little heat, and just keep on spraying it with oil and carburetor cleaner with eye protection on. And anyways, just going to clean the inside of this out, and I'll be right back. Here's the pieces. This is the little piece switch that goes back and forth. This is the part that does the switching. I found a little tiny spring. Boy, it's going to be hard to see. There it is. I didn't find a ball bearing. Here's the pin. There we go. There's the pin. And then, of course, the main mechanism all cleaned up. I wasn't able to get this to work as far as popping out and popping in. It does pop out, but as soon as you press it, it doesn't pop back up like on a spring. I'm assuming in there it's just rusted and funky. Cleaned it a bunch, but no dice. So we got those, and there's the groove right there. So this goes inward, kind of like this. So that little thing goes on the inside. We're going to put our pin in. It slides right down. So when it goes to one side, this little piece kind of hangs out like that. Not that much, but about like that. And then when you switch it, it goes to the other side. Right there. And then I'm going to put a little grease. I'm going to tap that pin out. Pin goes. I'm just going to put a little tack of red and tacky grease. Got some on my screwdriver here. The Lucas is my favorite. It's a high drop point. It's like 500 something degrees. So I'm just going to give this a nice amount of lube, because these little old tools, they need a little love every once in a while, just like everybody. A little bit of lube and a little bit of love, if you know what I mean. All right. I don't think there's a side on the pin. Okay, we're going to hit this little adjuster piece with some lube as well, especially on the pivoting points, all around that little barrel. Now, as far as that little spring, this is going to be difficult, especially for you guys to see, but there's the hole right there, there's a little hole right there, and I'm going to put that spring in that hole. That's going to be easier said than done. Let me take a break and do that. I got it in the vise, the pair of needle nose, so that can go down in there. I'm going to look for a little ball bearing in my ball bearing thing. Let's see if I can add that. Well, I got the piece in there, and there's no dice on the little ball bearing. I don't have the right size, unfortunately. But that piece is in there now, so it looks like that. There's the switcher, and it's moving around nice and freely. Before it was a little tight. So we're pretty much ready to assemble. This is pretty gross inside there. You can probably barely see it, but it's pretty grimy. So I got a little wire brush bit for a screwdriver. I'm going to clean that up a bit and put some lube in there, and that will give us a little more cleanliness inside there, get some of the grime out. Just an overall, just forgot my golden rule. Had to learn that one the hard way. And unfortunately, the hard way consisted of a $3,500 doctor's visit, emergency room visit, and then having to go to a specialist to get my eye, ironically enough, dremeled out because there was a rust ring in there. So kids, learn the easy way from me by wearing eye protection, so your eyes don't look like this when you spray carburetor cleaner on them. Pretty good. I'm going to scrape it out with this screwdriver to get those excessive grimy points and the grooves in there out. These little things in the long run will save your tools from locking up, grime and grit, and just run so smooth. It's such a nice feeling when you have a tool that works well. Especially vintage tools, SK, Old Craftsman, Plum. Williams, all those old United States tool makers. That's going to be the next gold rush, is finding vintage, beautiful tools. SK is another brand. SK Wayne, I believe. So, all right, we're going to have our grease on my screwdriver. We're going to load this up with some grease. As you can see, it's much more cleaned up in there. I don't know if you can see, it's all shiny in there. We'll give this bad boy, this is actually probably too much grease, because you have those little tines and you want them to grab. They are one-sided, but let's see if we can get those in there pretty good. A lot of this is going to come out as well. You don't want to overdo it. You don't want to underdo it. You want a nice light film. Most of the time you put a bunch in and then you take a bunch out. Whatever's left is what you're going to use. So that's a nice amount. So as you can see in there, just a light coating. And then we are going to put this back in like that. Make sure this is in the middle. Oh, I wonder if it goes in like this. No, it doesn't. Interesting. Thinking that this piece, this adjuster, actually has to be in before it goes in. There it goes. Add a little bit of more lube to that. Interesting. It's really interesting the way people assemble things and disassemble them and reassemble them. It sometimes is not always the same. Assembly and reassembly. Disassembly and assembly, I mean. So it's just an interesting process. I believe helicopters have their own protocol, planes, I'm sure, anything aviation, very serious stuff, military applications, they have their own separate assemble and disassemble, which is, I find, fascinating as a mechanic. Because slightly different protocols or torque specs or assembly order, however you want to say it. There we go. Ooh, shit, that's a beauty. Interesting. Doesn't seem to be grabbing. Oh, it's not in there. That's fine. Interesting. I wonder if I'm missing a piece. Shouldn't be. Well, let me play with this for a little bit. Wow, so learning a lot on this project. Let's take this cap off. This pulls right out. Now, this piece pulls out with some coercion. So I added a little pin. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get it out. But it turns out that I did need a little ball bearing in that spot where the needle was. And I don't think I'm going to be able to get it out. So I added a little pin. And it was off of a little piece of metal that I had. This is from a speedometer on a moped or something. The worm drive, gear drive for a speedometer. You put it in there and it spins it up to the speedometer. So I put it in there, and when you press it in, it sticks. So that little piece is now real positive, and when you flip it to one side, it presses out that piece. And then when you flip it to the other side, it presses out that piece. And that's what grabs onto your ratcheting socket. So to slip it in, you got to put it right in the middle. This piece goes on, and I'm going to actually sand this down and get it smooth because I got a little grit when I was turning it. Okay, she's back with that little pin, and now it is all put back in place with that circlip there. Listen to that ratcheting. Excellent. SK brand 1/4 inch ratchet. Restored and cleaned, lubricated, and working great.